Can you waste your beginner gains in the gym? I believe the answer to that is no, but you still could spend a bunch of years working out without really looking like you lift weights. I mean, just look around at the gym at all the people who look the same year after year. So to prevent that from happening to you, in this video, I'm gonna share the two most important things you could be doing to start getting more out of every minute you spend in the gym. If we've never met before, my name is Mateo. I've lost 50 pounds now twice in my life, and I've spent the last 8 years coaching folks both in person and online to help them transform their bodies using a simplified approach. First, I need to show you how to avoid spending a bunch of time in the gym, but not really seeing the visual results you're after. And for that, I'm gonna show you using my beautiful art skills. See, anytime you do a set in the gym, it's gonna land somewhere on this dartboard. The stuff closer to the bullseye gets you more muscle growth, right? Right in the center, boom, we hit a bullseye. Let's say that's 100 muscle growth points. If we get here on the outer ring, now we're looking at 50 points, 25 points, and 5 points here in the outside. So what we want to do is get the most muscle growth out of every set we can. Most guys and gals aren't even throwing darts at the board consistently. So if you're showing up to the gym and already doing that a few days a week, give yourself a pat on the back because that's amazing. And none of this stuff I'm about to talk about will work without it. But once we've got that squared away, now we need to make sure that the work we're actually doing is getting us as close as possible to the bullseye, or at the very least, getting us a bunch of 50s. Because if you throw a bunch of 5s for 3 months, 6 months, a year, and you're just throwing darts on the outside of the board, well, you're not gonna have much result to show for it, and that's demotivating, and you're probably gonna end up giving up and just not really having as much fun with your training. You're not gonna get as strong as you could be, and you're not gonna see as much visual progress as you could. So, how do we make sure that most of every set we're doing is close to that bullseye and driving as much muscle growth as we can? Well, when it comes to muscle growth, there's one very, very important thing. We need to meet a certain threshold. We need to get to a point where the majority of the fibers and the motor units, the tiny little machines inside of your muscles, are turned on and trying their very hardest to move the weight that you're trying to move. And we do that primarily by getting our sets close to failure and, importantly, using a technique that is loading up the target tissues we're trying to train. Because no matter how hard you push on your exercises, no matter how close to failure you get, if your technique is bad enough that it's not actually putting load through your chest is never going to grow as well as it could. So maybe you end up throwing in that 10-point or 25-point territory and never really getting the hundreds and building the chest that you want. So here are two things you can start doing today to start throwing more bullseyes more consistently. All right, number one that I want to talk about is just filming your sets. I have a super simple tripod that my camera is set up on right here. It's a cheap $20 one off Amazon. It collapses, it goes in my gym bag. I pop my phone in, it takes 2 seconds, and I film my set. But it took me forever to get comfortable doing that because I didn't want to be the D-bag influencer pulling out his phone and filming in the gym, whatever, being in people's way. I just thought it was weird, and I'm not really still comfortable with it, but I do it anyways because I know it's important for me to help folks like you and all the other folks we work with. So before I ever did that, and what I still do sometimes now, is I just prop my phone up in the gym. I just get my water bottle or a machine, selfie style, video mode, and I take a video of my sets, recording top to bottom, start to finish on the set. And what that does is a few things. Number one, it gives me an idea of my effort levels. When I watch these videos back, if I'm watching that video and I see myself not really getting to the point where that weight is slowing down and I'm pushing my hardest, but it's really grinding, well, did I really push that set hard enough? So there's a little bit of external accountability there for me. On top of that, when the set gets hard and I look at that video towards the end, am I starting to swing my hips when I do my bicep curl and take some load off my arms? Or am I continuing to hold the muscle to the fire as the set gets hard and using a technique that really trains the musculature that I'm trying to train? Right? So now we've got effort, we've got technique, and the last and I think really exciting thing is you can take a look at progress. If I take a look at a video of me pressing 45-pound dumbbells from 3 to 5 years ago, oh my God, is it ever night and day difference? 45 pounds, I was grinding, my elbows moving around. Okay, maybe 5 years ago, awkward and weird and just tough. Nowadays, I can do deep pause reps with the 75s, the 80s, and I have videos of this, right? So that's very, very good evidence that the same weights are moving very differently for more reps. And we know that that's a really good sign that you're building tissue. So I'd highly recommend taking one just one video of one set of one exercise in each workout. That's it. Takes you 5 minutes and will dramatically improve the quality of your muscle growth training. You will build more muscle this year without a doubt if you start filming just one video from each workout. That means you're gonna start throwing closer and closer to that bullseye. And here's the cool thing, as you watch more and more of your training footage back, you get better and better and better. It's a feedback loop. I think that filming your sets is just invaluable. It makes you so much better at training for muscle growth. Now that I've beaten the life out of that one, free workout plan, link in the description box if you need one to follow. Let's talk about the second thing that you need to be doing. This second thing is, I think, the calorie tracking equivalent of muscle growth training. So all those folks out there who finally figured out the fat loss thing, but you never really got the muscle growth you want, well, this is it right here, baby. Keep a training log. The other day I was DMing back and forth with a guy on Instagram. He told me, Matteo, you know, I'm trying this, that, and the other thing. I don't know, is it my recovery? Is it my nutrition? I'm working out hard. I'm doing a push-pull leg split, this, that, and the other thing. How come I'm not growing? And I said, cool, just send me your training log. And he's like, well, I kind of just keep it in my head. And I was like, I got you, man. I knew that you weren't keeping a training log, right? And the reality is, it's one of these things where you know it's something you should be doing. And until you do it consistently, I think you just don't really see how valuable it is. Because similarly to the videos, reps and loads and sets all indicate progress. So when I see now that I'm pressing the 80s and 75s for deep pause reps, man, I just know my pecs are bigger. Obviously, I can feel it in my shirts and whatever, but I know because I'm looking at my training log how much I've improved. The other thing that it does, just like the videos, is it keeps you honest with pushing your sets hard, right? What the big difference is between a lot of these center circles and the outer circles is the sets in the center circles are just way more stimulative. They're pushed way harder with great technique, right? So if we are more honest with how hard we should be pushing in the gym, more and more of those darts will be bullseyes. And so when you look back at your training log from the previous 2 or 3 weeks and you see that you did leg press for 100 pounds, 12 reps, well, you're like, oh, I'm kind of tired today, I'm a little sore. You know what, I'm just gonna load up 70. No. You know that you did 100 for 12, you're loading up 100 and you're doing 12, or that thing is falling on you, or at least you're gonna try your best, of course, right? Because the gym, the front desk girl at the gym is watching, and if you let her down, well, geez, good luck. So, training log keeps you honest, it shows you progress. On top of that, these tiny notes that I leave myself are so valuable. Just like that feedback loop you get with your videos, you can have a little space next to where your loads, your reps, and your sets go, where it's just called notes. And I put this in my free training plan that's linked in the description box. You can see there's a little notes section. And what I do is I just put, okay, seat height 4, or elbows tucked a little bit better. I just leave myself tiny little training notes that give me a reminder of little cues that help me get more and more out of the exercise. And as things adjust over time, I use different handles for the pulling movements. I use different seat heights. I use different, setups. Those type of things are really great to keep an eye on, because some of them can dramatically change how you improve on an exercise and your performance. Right? If I pause my squats and put pause squat at the bottom, or I do a 3-second descent on the bench press, that's going to be a very different output versus just regular reps that I'm banging out. And so by indicating that, you can give yourself a little bit more clue as to how things have been going and what's working really well for you. Or you leave notes saying, hey, this kind of beat up my elbow, or this one felt great. Great. Now you can actually look back at your training and have a little bit of a pilot's log and make better, more informed decisions about what's working for you, how hard you're training, and how well it's going for you. So those 2 things are very important. Start taking a video of what you're doing in the gym and start keeping a training log. I like using Google Sheets for this, but you can easily just write yourself an email or do notes. I prefer using Google Sheets. There's also a mobile app, very organized. Cells are very easy to organize and duplicate on PC or Mac, and then you take it to the gym on your phone and you can track it all in there as well. For the folks we work with in our one-on-one coaching program, I use a custom mobile application that lays it out really nice and tidy so they can just follow along in the gym. But if you don't have that, I think Sheets is probably your best bet, and something I'm probably going to use for the rest of my life. In any case, thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helped. And if you want some more guidance, go check out this video next, where I talk about 10 things I wish I knew when I first started lifting weights that would have gotten me the physique I have now in a lot less time.